Please don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more English story. Let me tell you a story. It's not a fairy tale. And it's not a tragedy. It's just life, my life. And maybe, just maybe, you'll see a little bit of yourself in it. As, honestly, life is short. Too short to waste on things that don't matter. Too short to hold grudges. To chase the wrong dreams. Or to live someone else's version of success. But don't worry. This isn't a sad story. It's a story about learning, growing, and finding meaning in the chaos. The beginning. Chasing the wrong things. I used to think life was all about winning. You know. The kind of winning that looks good on paper, a fancy job, a big house, a shiny car. I worked myself to the bone, thinking that if I just climbed higher, I'd finally be happy. I stayed late at the office, missed birthdays, skipped vacations, and told myself it was all worth it. Someday, I'd say, I'll have everything I ever wanted. But here's the thing. Someday never comes. Not really. Because when you're always chasing the next big thing, you forget to live in the now. And the now? That's all we've got. One day, I got a call from my mom. She said, "Your dad's not doing well. You should come home." I remember staring at my calendar, filled with meetings and deadlines, and saying, "I'll come next week. I'm just so busy right now." But next week never came for my dad. He passed away before I could say goodbye. That was the first time I realized how short life really is. All those hours I spent working, all those moments I missed with my family, I couldn't get them back. No amount of money or success could bring my dad back. And that's when it hit me. I've been chasing the wrong things. The wake-up call. What really matters? After my dad passed, I took a hard look at my life. I realized I didn't even know who I was anymore. I'd been so focused on proving myself to others that I'd lost sight of what really mattered. So, I made a change. I quit my high-pressure job, sold my fancy car, and moved to a smaller town. It wasn't easy. People thought I was crazy. "You're throwing away your career," they said. But I didn't care. For the first time in years, I felt free. I started spending more time with my mom, reconnecting with old friends, and doing things I actually enjoyed like painting and hiking. I even adopted a dog, Max, who became my constant companion. Slowly, I began to remember what happiness felt like. It wasn't in a paycheck or a title. It was in the little things, the smell of coffee in the morning, the sound of laughter, the warmth of the sun on my face. The middle. Learning to let go. But life, as always, had more lessons in store for me. A few years later, I fell in love. Her name was Sarah. And she was everything I wasn't: free-spirited, adventurous, and unapologetically herself. She taught me how to live in the moment, how to let go of my need for control, and how to love without fear. We traveled together, explored new places, and made memories I'll cherish forever. But life isn't a movie, and not every love story has a happy ending. After 5 years, Sarah and I grew apart. She wanted different things, and so did I. It hurt like hell, but I realized that sometimes love means letting go. I learned that holding on to something or someone that no longer serves you only keeps you stuck. Letting go doesn't mean you failed. It means you're brave enough to move forward, even when it hurts. The turning point. Finding purpose. After Sarah and I parted ways, I felt lost again. But this time, I didn't run back to my old habits. Instead, I started volunteering at a local shelter. Helping others gave me a sense of purpose I'd never felt before. I realized that life isn't just about what you can get, it's about what you can give. I also started writing. First, it was just for myself, a way to process my thoughts and feelings. But over time, I began sharing my stories with others. To my surprise, people connected with them. They told me my words helped them feel less alone. And that gave me a sense of fulfillment I'd never experienced in my corporate job. The present. Living with intention. Now, I'm not saying I have it all figured out. I still have bad days. I still make mistakes. But I've learned to live with intention. I've learned to prioritize what truly matters: love, connection, and purpose. And I've learned that life is too short to waste on things that don't bring you joy. So, here's my advice to you. From one imperfect human to another. Don't wait for someday. Someday is a myth. If you want to do something, do it now. Call that friend. Take that trip. Start that project. Life is happening right now, and it's up to you to make the most of it. Let go of what doesn't serve you. Whether it's a toxic relationship, a dead-end job, or a grudge you've been holding on to, let it go. You can't move forward if you're clinging to the past. Find your purpose. It doesn't have to be grand or world-changing. Just has to mean something to you. Maybe it's helping others, creating art, or simply being there for the people you love. Be kind to yourself. You're going to mess up. You're going to fail. And that's okay. What matters is that you keep going. Be your own biggest cheerleader, not your own worst critic. Remember that life is short. It's easy to get caught up in the hustle and forget what really matters. But at the end of the day, it's not about how much you achieved or how much you accumulated. It's about how much you loved, how much you laughed, and how much you lived. Then, a life well lived. I don't know how much time I have left. None of us do. But I do know this. I want to look back on my life and feel proud of how I lived it. I want to know that I loved deeply, laughed often, and made a difference, no matter how small. Life is short, my friend. Too short to waste on regrets and what-ifs. So, go out there and live. Really live. Take risks. Make mistakes. And embrace the messiness of it all. Because in the end, it's not about the destination, it's about the journey. And what a beautiful journey it can be. This story is a reminder that life is fleeting, but it's also full of possibilities. It's up to us to make the most of it. So, take a deep breath. Let go of what's holding you back. And step into the life you were meant to live. You've got this. I'm so glad you spent this time with me. If you like the story, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more. Take care. And see you next time.